Hello, mamas. I regret going on Jubilee. Jubilee, the YouTube channel that was once home to fun little videos where a group of teenagers would try and decide who deserves $1,000 out of all of them, and it would end with a heartwarming conclusion with fun little laughs, like a girl saying Nina, 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 and can I quiz you on ocean facts? And everyone had a hoot and a holler. Or like that really funny video they did with like Duncan, where it was like trying to figure out who is the fake grandma. Fun stuff like that. And going into the Jubilee video that I went on, I was under the impression that that's how things were still rolling and shaking at Jubilee. I watch very little YouTube, which I know is a little bit ironic, so I really don't know what's happening on this website for the most part, and I should have done my own research a little bit before I decided to be a part of one of their videos. Now, at first, they were like, do you want to be... They were like trying to find something to place me in, because it's like, what do I do? What talents do I like? I can talk in like a squeaky voice. Like they could have like, who's the fake Mickey Mouse or something. But like I was like, I could be like, who's like the fake hacker out of like a group of hackers? Like I don't know. So then they found out that I'm vegan, and they're like, all right, let's do vegans versus meat eaters challenge extravaganza video. And I was like, let's do it. That'll be fun. And they flew me out to LA, and they were, I guess I'll talk about my experience and then just the overall gripe I have with Jubilee afterwards. They were, believe it or not, so nice on the set. They were so nice and friendly. All the producers, I think, are kind of like the vibe I got was the people that work at Jubilee, it's not like their main hustle. Like they're doing other things in like film, TV, reality spheres. And they're just like producing these videos for Jubilee on the side. That's like the vibe I got. Everyone was so friendly. Basically, I like the LA film industry is really dying. So I think anytime someone gets a job where they get to like be near cameras, they're like happy to be there. So like the crew was all very nice, very sweet. The rest of the cast was all very nice, very sweet, despite some of them being meat eaters and some of them being vegans, which could be a point of contention. I believe everyone got along very nicely. And I realized very quickly when I was there that some people are like career jubilists. Like some of them they're like, yeah, this is my 5th time in a Jubilee video. I'm like, and you keep coming back? My God, there must be some magic sauce to this whole shebang. So yeah, my video was like vegans versus meat eaters. I was one of the vegans. There was 3 of us, one full vegan. There was me, who has recently become a vegan in like the past 4 or 5 months. How long have I been vegan? 4 months? Yeah. And then they had someone who's like kind of like a flexitarian. I don't really know what to call her. And then they had like 20 people come in, and half of them were, maybe not half, but like half of them were vegan, half of them were meat eaters. And I was like, okay, what a fun, silly concept. Like, I'd love to see, because, and it was like called Test Your Radar. So they would come in a line, we'd to like talk to them for a few seconds, guess, yada, yada. Like, and there was no arguments. It was peace. There was peace in the jungle. It was so chill. And when I was talking to some of the like crew people and producers, they were saying how they're like, yeah, we get like all the fun ones that Jubilee does, but there's a separate team that does the political stuff. And they're like, essentially, and thank God we're not doing that. I haven't sat through a Jubilee video in full in a very long time. Actually, the one I was in was probably the first Jubilee video I watched in full. And I didn't realize how insane it's gotten. Also, let me just add, after I did like a live stream reaction to the Jubilee video I was in, because they were like kind of encouraging me to like make content about the Jubilee video that I'm in. They copyright claimed it, like, which I can kind of understand, because it's like I reacted to the full thing. Like, I guess I kind of like maybe stole their thunder or whatever. But I copyright claimed. They eventually released it. I had to be like, hey, hello. Anyways, I then this is kind of saw the discourse about Jubilee. Specifically, this most recent week, there was a video where it was this one left-wing, I think he was like a news personality or maybe just like an online personality, left-wing person debating 20 far-right individuals, which like okay, I think debates are awesome and debates are important, but a lot of the discourse around this video in particular, and then broadly many other Jubilee videos, was maybe these aren't being made in the best, made with the best intentions, let's say. So for some context, I believe Jubilee's whole message is to like find middle ground and find like connections between people who are very divided, especially in a country that's very divided. In fact, I even heard, I believe he was a CEO. Yeah, CEO or founder, which, is there a difference between those two things? I don't know. I heard directly in like a smaller event from the CEO or founder of Jubilee saying that, like, giving like a very impassioned speech. I can't quote it word for word because I was off like 2 cocktails, baby. But saying how, like, you know, they really just find a passion in bridging people together when they're so divided, and it really sounded very inspirational and sounded like, you know, they're doing very good work over at jubilee.com, youtube.com/jubilee or whatever the fuck. And I remember hearing that and I was like, okay, you know what, like, maybe it is more than just that Nina girl. And I think that's part of the reason why I was like, okay, I'll give this thing a shot. Now, that's kind of just not the case with the content that Jubilee makes. So they have like a bunch of different formats. I feel like the one that generates the most controversy is their like surrounded format, where essentially they'll have one person with one view debate 20 people with a opposing view. And they'll usually say like a claim, like they'll be like, I think applesauce is yummy, and then fucking the big pair lobbyists will come up and be like, you fucking idiot, and then they'll like debate for like 5 minutes, or I just like until like people put up like flags and say like nope. So the most recent episode, just to give some context, don't go watch it unless you want your brain to feel like it's like liquefying in your skull. Just to give context, the 20 far right people were so far right that during one of the mini debates, when one of the people came up and debated the left wing personality, they were like, they just straight up said like, yeah, I'm a fascist, and like the people around them clapped. So those are the kind of people who were in this episode. So to pull a Jubilee, let's address Jubilee's claim that their content helps people find a middle ground amidst this crazy world. I am gonna say disagree. I wish beyond anything that everyone could see eye to eye on everything. Hey, I just would, guys, am I the only one that would love world peace and for everyone to get along? But unfortunately, that is not the case. They are putting two opposing views that are like fundamentally incompatible with each other, like where there's not even a shred of possibility for people to find a middle ground, and expecting it to like, it does not work. So there's the claim that a lot of people say that Jubilee is like conservative media. That's something that I keep seeing all over like TikTok. Anytime there's like a think piece about Jubilee, they're like, we need to arrest the producers of Jubilee. They are conservative, like just megaphones essentially. I'm going to disagree with that. I think Jubilee is just point blank a grifting company, and one of the biggest grifting companies that we have. And I talked a little bit about like ragebait like a couple episodes ago, but like essentially I don't know what the actual definition of grifting is. I'm not going to read it off like, you know what, let me read it. Fuck it. All right, so the Google definition is a person who engages in petty or small scale swindling. That's like the Google definition. I feel like the more colloquial definition of it is like someone who pretends to hold political views in order to gain money or other benefits. Think Candace Owens. Think Jubilee. Obviously, now look, and my case being, you look at the video that I did where it's like vegans versus meat eaters, flopped, got like 300,000 views. They're like, what is the one that they just did? 1 progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives, 5.6 million views. 1 conservative versus 20 feminists featuring Candace Owens, 6.3 million views. Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists, 7.1 million views. Then it's like, what's his red flag? 106,000 views. So like, it doesn't take a genius to realize that what is most profitable for them is the most divisive content, the most political. And you look at some of these videos and they have like 70,000 comments. And those are the ones that get clipped the most. Like, no, there was not a single clip from the video of me trying to figure out if someone's vegan or a meat eater, but the clip of someone's like debating a fascist in front of them, that will get clicks. So I think I don't think they're inherently any political side. I don't think they really have a spine when it comes to anything. I think they're just driven by money, as the common grifter is. So, you know, do they kind of work in conservatives' favor? Absolutely. And I would say that the most harmful thing that Jubilee does is they are pushing the Overton window, not like single-handedly or by themselves, but they are definitely part of the Overton window shifting, which is essentially like, let me read a description again. See, this is when I wish I was like a Joe Rogan and I had like a Jamie to pull things up instead of having to pick my MacBook up off of the floor to like read a Google definition every 2 minutes, especially when I like mispronounce it. Okay, the Overton window, also known as the window of political possibilities, refers to the range of policies that are considered acceptable by the public and politicians at a given time. It's a model that describes how ideas shift from being unthinkable to being mainstream policy. This window can expand or contract, influencing what politicians are willing to support and what the public is willing to accept. Discovering this concept actually really it put into words what I've been feeling for a very long time and what I've been noticing, where like stuff that is said by politicians, just in general, the general public, that would have never been accepted even 20 years ago is now widely accepted and is said by like the president. So when I say that Jubilee's content shifts the Overton window to the right, they do that by platforming people who have values and arguments and positions that would be so insane to just like say in public even 5 years ago. Let's say even 5 years ago. So some of the people in this like one left wing versus like 20 far right wing conservatives video, like they were essentially, the one guy was essentially saying that he wants the government to be fully aligned with like Catholic values, that parts of the Constitution should be amended so that they fit like Christian right-wing values. He essentially advocated for a white ethno-state, for America to be a white ethno-state. Hello! What the fuck? Imagine saying that even 5 years ago. But now that that's in a YouTube video that has millions and millions of views, at first we experience shock hearing that. But then the next time we hear it, it's something that's been said before, and that shock won't be there. And eventually, that kind of rhetoric is something that will be more or less normal. And we're used to hearing that. And that is how the Overton window gets shifted. Now, obviously, this is just a YouTube video that 5 million, which is a lot of people, have seen. But it's not it's not like the whole world is seeing this, but I think Jubilee is at fault, and definitely contributes to the normalization of those kind of things. Because to view like to view America, like someone wanting America to be a white ethno state for people who don't align with a certain conservative ideology or just lifestyle, for them to advocate for them to be deported, I have a very hard time even just like giving credibility to that as like a valid viewpoint, because that is genuinely people's viewpoints, but it's crazy to think about that. So how guilty is like Jubilee as a platform for platforming these people? I look at them and see them as like just like centrist grifters. I don't really think that. I think they try and like look bipartisan or like just like in the center for any kind of issue that they platform, and I feel like they try to like for every video where it's like 20 Republicans versus one liberal, they'll try and do like one liberal versus 20 Republicans. Like I feel like they try and make it equal, but I guess like maybe this is like a side tangent, but I used to try not give like credibility or even like much thought to these kind of videos, because like obviously it's very sensational to platform the loudest people out of any issue. For example, like 20 right-wing people who are, some of them are saying that like they welcome fascism and they don't disavow the Nazis. That is like the loudest, most furthest right you could get, which doesn't speak for all conservatives. And obviously the same goes for like any kind of left-wing cause or viewpoint. There will always be people that are so far extreme that like even people who like would be seen as like the same side would like be almost like scared of that person. Like there are things that I believe in where it's like there are people on the same kind of like cause that are so extreme about it that I'm like, George's money, like, so, you know, that's the bread and butter of like grifter content, is finding the loudest, most extreme people, because the knee-jerk reaction to seeing someone like it's hard to not see someone say like, I'm not gonna disavow what the Nazis did, and then like have a poor taste in your mouth about all conservatives. Like it's like, and that is not fulfilling what I think Jubilee's like core message is, to like find common ground. To the average person, that is making you scared as fuck of the other people. Also, let me just add, I feel like one of the main disservices that Jubilee does to humanity at large is they present like an alternate reality of America where every interaction with someone that you disagree with is expected to be incredibly unpleasant. It's a battle between two people where one must either one must be defeated and the other one become victorious, or both just become so like emotionally exhausted that they just like carry on with a shattered view of mankind. That is not how reality is. In reality, in the real world, when you step outside, if you see someone you disagree with, you keep walking. If you have to interact with someone that you disagree with, you just don't talk about what you disagree with and you carry on. It's not, they make it seem like every single time you have to talk to someone or even pass someone on the street who has a different viewpoint, it's going to be, they want you dead! Death to them all! I don't know. Also, I want to say the format just doesn't work. It flat out does not work, this like surrounded thing. Unfortunately, we are kind of in like a post-truth era. And what I mean by that is like on both sides of any argument, one side could show like a fact with a source and the other side will just straight up say, well, that's fake. That's not real. I don't believe your source. Or they're like so far deep into like their own kind of rabbit hole and like echo chamber that they like cannot see any reality outside of it. So I think in these debates where it's like one-on-one, and I will give them credit, they do like the little like live fact checker at the bottom, but like that doesn't really help when it's a live argument between two people, because like, and sometimes they'll try and fact check, they'll say like, oh well that's not true, and then they'll say like, because of this, and the other person will be like, well I've never heard of that source, or that source is fake. Okay, so we just got nowhere. We actually just got like literally nowhere with that back and forth, because obviously if the fact is coming from someone that you're debating, you're going to be hesitant to believe that source. So like I don't even know that there's like a good way to like do the kind of format that they do, where it's like these one-on-one debates where it's like one person versus 20 people that believe the opposite thing, because like they're just sorry, I need to scream. So let me like talk about what the experience is of watching like Jubilee as a viewer. You spend 2 hours, which by the way, if you're watching any piece of content for 2 hours, it is bound to like seep into your psyche. You can't spend 2 hours listening to something and not have parts of it like actually affect your perspective on things. It's very hard to do that unless it's like you're watching like one of my YouTube streams where I'm playing like, I don't know, like Fortnite for 2 hours. Like, okay, you're probably not, that's not affecting you in any way. In fact, you're maybe seeing like how not to play Fortnite because I'm so bad at it. But say you watch a Jubilee video like the one that they just posted for 2 hours. You're immediately going to feel probably a little bit uneasy. And I think they make certain videos for certain people. Like, for example, I think their most recent video, the one liberal debates 20 far-right conservatives, is meant to rile up and stir fear and disgust in the average liberal, which also like gets you maybe like watching more of their videos, maybe commenting, which helps boost their content in the algorithm. And overall, I feel like a common experience, one that I've seen like lots of people comment about in these videos, is that they've lost faith in humanity. Jubilee, you are doing something wrong if that is what people are walking away from your videos with. It like beyond grifting, you should look deep into your soul and realize that like the very carefully crafted grifting content that you are making is not helping people find middle ground. It is making people literally lose faith in humanity. The 20 far-right people that you found are not representative of the half of America that would probably consider themselves conservative, and vice versa. The 20 people that might, I haven't really watched many other Jubilee videos because I can't do it because I don't have the stamina for that. But I'm assuming they've had videos where they have very extreme liberals debate a conservative, and I'm sure there's probably been very extreme cases that would make a conservative person upset and make them think that those extreme people represent the half of America that would consider themselves to be a liberal. What you can do as a viewer is to not watch content like this. To save your sanity, if you ever see any content that smells like a grift, that looks like a grift, what is the saying? If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, or what? I don't even know. Anyways, if you ever see something where you can kind of feel that it's riling you up, it's made to get clicks, it's made to get as many views as possible, it's made to be a grift, that this person that's making it or this organization that's making it is financially benefiting from it extremely, do not watch it. The grift, the art of the grift comes in like so many different formats. It could be like a charismatic personality. What I think of a lot of the time is like a lot of those like influencers that popped up around the election that would just like do constant debates. Like they'd sit on live stream and just like debate people for hours and hours and hours on end. The amount of money that they made doing that, insane. And I think it's just so unethical to have your entire career, no matter the political cause, to be making money off of like, to make money off of that. Just, it feels so icky to me. Maybe you'll disagree with me on that. I don't know. But So just for your sanity, do not interact with content that is made to rage bait you and that is made to grift. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Also, okay, this is going to be controversial. Do not get, and this is ironic me saying this, do not get your news from podcasters. Do not get your news from TikTok news accounts, where one of my biggest positions is, hey, maybe the mainstream media is good for being a source of news. Like, maybe this is like the lib-pilled journalism student in me, but I still have hope and I still believe in the institutions that are mainstream media outlets. I'm talking about, the ones that have been around for, hey, like damn near 100 years. The New York Times, Reuters. I don't know what it's called. And here's why. Yes, they are not perfect. Yes, they have made very questionable omissions about world events where it's like, are you not reporting on this because you have a certain viewpoint? Okay. However, not every single, but the major mainstream media sources have the most insane, rigorous fact-checking departments within them. And I know this from experience because I was once interviewed by the New Yorker for it was just like a broad article about TikTok in 2019 when it was like first coming up. And after the interview, which actually, now that I think of it, the interviewer was Gio Tolentino, who's like now one of my favorite writers and journalists. But after the interview, they had someone from the New Yorker call me, and before they could publish it, they fact-checked damn near every single part of the interaction that I had with the journalist that was interviewing me. So like down to like what color shirt I was wearing, I think like what my mother's name was. It was insane. Like they were so thorough. It was crazy. And this is something that pretty much every mainstream media has in their reporting, okay? And it's been like that for a very long time. I understand that we are in very tumultuous times where it's like fact-checking can sometimes be a point of contention because, once again, we are in a post-truth, post-fact era where some people just don't believe a fact even when it is put right in front of them. But you compare it to the people that are like that, like guy on TikTok. Oh, let me not name names. This is gonna end bad. Okay, redact that. But people just broadly who are reporting the news on TikTok, they have little to no fact-checking, like resources or like people. Like they're just sometimes regurgitating information from like word of mouth sources or from like unverified videos online. And same goes with podcasts. Guilty. Like once again, even for me, if I ever say anything and I say something wrong, you should fact check it and you should just form your own opinions on things. Now, when I say that, also let me add. Some people go down the path of like, okay, well, I form my own opinions on things, and confuse that with like extreme contrarianism. And I know this personally because I suffer from being a contrarian sometimes, where it's like I'll hear something and I want to do the exact opposite of it, like just in general in life. But some people will like be a contrarian in the kind of like news that they receive. So like any kind of public opinion, they'll try and find the furthest thing from it and make that their whole bit, and sometimes even grift. Like I think of Candace Owens, how she literally had like fucking Harvey Weinstein on her podcast, like just to hear from him, because that's like the like trying to like humanize that demon is like the furthest thing from the public, like the general public opinion on him. Like, oh, what if he's a good guy? What the fuck is wrong with you? Also, it drives me fucking insane every time I see like Candace Owens make a point that's like broadly accepted, or like, dare I say, even like a kind of liberal point, and people are like, am I agreeing with Candace Owens? Does a clock strike, or am I in the Twilight Zone? She's grifting, you fucking idiots! Also, I want to say, I have hope for humanity still. I believe in a society that can one day have a little bit more cohesion than it currently does right now. That being said, I was extremely startled because like I would watch these Jubilee videos, and anytime I see like some sort of like grifter showing like the worst of humanity or the most extreme of one side of a certain issue, I would think, okay, well, these are just like crazies that are not representative of everyone. And I still think that's mostly the case, but it does frighten me how much that kind of like extreme rhetoric has seeped into my actual life and people that I know. I logged into Facebook for the first time in damn near half a decade to see like what my aunts, uncles are up to, what some of my high school friends are up to. Oh no, I will say some of those extreme people are actually real people that walk this earth with us. Also, why is half of everyone that I went to high school with pregnant or married or both? I wonder if I'm infertile. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I really don't know. Like, I wonder if, like, you just know when you're infertile. Like, if you can feel it in your balls. If, like, you got no swimmers in that joint. But, no, I feel like I've really been on my healthy shit recently. I feel like I probably am fertile. What the fuck? Anyways, guys, hey, it's gonna be okay. Just don't, for your sanity, don't watch Jubilee. Don't watch shit that's meant to rile you up and make you think that the West has fallen and that everyone is evil and anyone with an opposing belief of you wants you dead. That's not healthy. We'll disagree with people. People will have views that are completely different than yours. But hey, one day when the Jubilee channel gets shut down, maybe we'll find world peace. Maybe. Fuck. Sorry. Consider this my apology video for being on Jubilee. Here's the thing. Let me just say this too. I was like, I should do a funny bit. Like, I wanted to go into it like in character or something and like be the next Nina girl. Forgot that I just like am so cripplingly incapable of interacting with strangers, albeit 23 of them. So I shrunk up and shriveled up and retreated into like my shy self. So fuck it. You like, there's no clips. I didn't do anything funny. I didn't do anything iconic. The court jester that I am could not come out that day. And the video flopped and it got 300,000 views. And now Jubilee's like, well, we need to stop making fun, silly videos. And let's get 20 terrorists versus 20. Okay, anyways. Love y'all. Bye.